Hey, thanks everyone. This is Weber. I'm a solutions architect with AWS, and along with me is Narcis, is also a solution architect. Along with me, we have been focusing a lot on FSI, and all my time here, I've been always helping FSI customers. So today we'll be talking about Agentic AI on AWS and what value it can bring on the table for your enterprises. So starting with, right, like what we are seeing in businesses, like they deploy this agent, right, across two key personas that we see. The first one is like the enterprise users. These are business users, developers, and they want to like use AI agents to sort of accelerate their workplace productivity and enhance internal business workflows, right? Uh, these are usually typically out of the box solutions, like with a variable degree of enterprise customization, to meet their goals. And the second one is more around application developers, right? This is where Gen AI, like this is like think about building AI agents for like more complex internal use cases or customer facing applications. Um they typically want to work with a variety of foundation models and development tools to meet certain specific needs. Now we see broad choices of use cases that goes with agentic AI. Um, and AWS meets you where you want to start your journey, agentic AI journey with, whether through any kind of custom development, ready-made solutions, or a combination of both, right? Like what AWS has to offer as a solution to help you realize the agentic AI strategy, or also sort of a do-it-yourself strategy. Now, to effectively leverage agentic AI, you should align your strategy with your desired level of customization you want to do and control. Now, with a specialized, everything is almost all managed. Like the agents are built in. Uh, these are typically think about if you have known services like Amazon Q. Uh, it helps you improve the developer productivity, and we'll talk about it shortly. Uh, and then there is something like fully managed, where it gives you the choice of models like Amazon Bedrock agents. Uh, it helps you choose the models, helps you choose orchestrate the workflow, and also like create agents the way you would like to create. And then do it yourself is most like we provide you the basic infrastructure, and then you bring your own open source frameworks, models, or agents, if you will. So starting with the specialized agents, right? For enterprise customers, like including business professionals and developers, AWS delivers like industry-leading specialized agents within our set of services, like Amazon Q Developer. This is where you can improve your developer productivity. Now we have been, it has been a couple of years where we are using services or tools to sort of help us write code. Amazon Q Developer just does not. It started with code completion, but it can look at your code base holistically and help you write documentation, review code, check on bugs, do unit testing, write documentation, and things like that. It also helps not just understand your code base, but also help add additional features, right? So if you're designing a game and the game has uh, certain missing features that you would like to add, Amazon Q Developer can integrate with your code base. It can check, where all the code files are, where all the dependencies are, and then it can, after understanding that code base, it will know how to add and when to add those features. So that's why Amazon Q Developer sort of stands out in developer productivity. Um, then we have Amazon Q Business as well, uh, where it runs on top of your knowledge base, right? Your enterprise documents, your enterprise data, and then helps you make sense out of it. So a lot of the use case are like contact center use cases, internal HR applications, chatbot style applications, be it internal facing or customer faces facing, where it looks at your enterprise data, depending on the user access you have, and then helps you make sense of it or gives you that conversational search experience. Um, and there's also Amazon QuickSight. So Q integrates with QuickSight as well. Um, one, when you ingest your data, like QuickSight is a service that helps you sort of create dashboards and visualize the data. Uh, Q provides, it integrates with Q, and Q provides a national language form of doing that. So you could query your data like, hey, what were the uh, quarter to quarter sales of this product in 2024? So it will analyze the data and then create the graph in a way that makes the best answer, right? The best case scenario for that particular question. So it creates those dashboards accordingly, and helps you sort of make sense of the data visually. Then, if you go one layer down, where you have like this fully managed or DIY agents, that's where you can use or leverage service like Amazon Bedrock, where there is each layer in which you can make different decisions, right? You can choose from the hundreds of models that we have it available, right? Be it Amazon's own Noah models, be it Anthropic models, we have Llama as well, uh, and all the various variety of models that you could choose from. Now, this works well, but if you want to take some actions on the responses or the knowledge of the models or the data you have, that's where Bedrock agents come into picture. So you can leverage agents to build sort of complex tasks and make it easy. And every agent will sort of have a designated role, a designated task to work for. Um, and then we go ahead a layer deep where we talk about like Bedrock flows. And this is where you can like have a visual way of accelerating your development workflows. So you can choose, you can have a model choice, you can integrate your knowledge base, you can uh, uh, integrate the APIs that it wants to invoke to take certain actions. And Bedrock flows basically makes that easy. And then there's multi-agent collaboration. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. If you want to scale your agentic experience and you want to execute multiple complex tasks, that's where you will have to create like multiple agents, each agent designated to do a particular task or achieve a particular outcome. So with Bedrock, as I mentioned, you get to choose, leading foundational models, and you can invoke them using like a single API. Um, and then you can do cost optimization, latency, accuracy. You can customize the model response by integrating your data sets as well. And safety is like, job zero here in Amazon. So, we make sure we provide guardrails, right, around the agents or around the models to make sure the integrity of your brand sort of remains. Now we have been working with hundreds of customers since like Bedrock agents went GA, and with Bedrock you can quickly build agents like simply describing them in natural language, the things that you would like for the agents to handle, or like uh, probably sales orders, compile like financial reports, analyze some customer retention, and things like that. Now we use like model reasoning behind the scenes. So breaking down that into like workflow steps, like calling the right APIs, and then executing on that action. Now, for transparency, Bedrock agents will give you visibility into the foundation model's chain of thought reasoning, like what it's thinking to basically take that action. And then you can use a chain of thought trace from Bedrock to troubleshoot your responses, modify instruction, get more accurate responses, and things like that. And then just double tapping into like better workflows. This is how it would look like, the one I talked in the earlier slide, where flows like accelerate the creation, testing, and deployment of your LLM-based workflows, right, through an intuitive visual builder. Bedrock Flows allows users to easily create a visual workflow that can chain like multiple prompts and Bedrock tools, simplifying, accelerating all of these steps above. For example, right, write a Lambda function that will fetch like top three news articles, and then write a prompt that will summarize the topics, with each one of them, and then the topic becomes a variable to be used for the next flow, which can be then sent over an email. So chain Lambda functions, chain like knowledge bases, LLMs you can like integrate all that in like in a Bedrock workflow. It provides you the drag and drop interface, code APIs, linking models, prompts, things like that. Direct texting into like development or via console or API. Moving along, we also have multi-agent collaboration. So, like, think of it as like a main agent, which sort of acts like a team leader, and then handling out tasks to other specialized agents. So each specialized agent will specialize in a given task, right? Let's say like one agent is this task for summarizing. One agent is just tasked to answer questions based on the knowledge set that is integrated with that agent. Um, so they all specialized agent will do a certain task and report all the way to the main agent and like a team leader of the agent, and then take final action accordingly. So this capability enhances problem solving by achieving up to like 40% higher success rate in complex task and problem solving mechanisms based on the current benchmarks. And then additionally, this capability also reduces like the number of configuration steps by up to 70% compared to other similar solutions. So this is like high level, like a quick walkthrough on what agentic AI can do on AWS. To further deep dive into like the FSI based use cases, I'll call upon Narcissus to take it over from there.
Thank you, Vaibhab. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Narcissus Ekpa. I'm a senior solution architect with AWS, and I also act as an SME across the organization. And I also come in with over 10 years of capital markets. So the FSI domain is very relevant to me. And so let's talk about a few how financial services customers are implementing agentic workflows on AWS through those like 5 use case examples. So from left to right. So as you can see in front of each use case, we are calling out a few brand names in the industry. I'm sure you know those customers: Bridgewater, Parameta, Athene Holding, Rocket Companies, and Northwestern Mutual. And so I'm just going to scan through those use cases and speak to them from left to right. So what we're seeing on the market, and this is not an exhaustive list. There is a lot more use cases, but these are the ones that we have seen like bringing most impact to customers. So number one, research associates and investment analysis agents. And so we're seeing customers building a system that can generate complex charts, compute financial indicators, create summaries based on specific instructions in natural language. The next one that's really getting traction, even beyond FSI or financial services, is communication triage. And so for firms, and so most specifically financial institutions that are very workflow driven, that requires a lot of communication, email communication with customers, using an agent to triage emails and classify them and route the highly critical emails to the right people. Is a great, would say, business accelerator. And so they're giving time back to their analysts to focus on the higher value tasks as opposed to triaging and managing, would say, lower impact emails. The next one is data management. And in this use case, we're seeing, oh, sorry, still on the same slide. Thanks. So in this use case, we're seeing customers building agents to actually bring visibility and lineage in the data that they manage and analyze on a daily basis. And so we all know how complex it is to understand how a data point is being calculated and which data sources. And so they built an agent actually building that mapping, so you get that visibility right up front. The next one is, and this is really table stake use case, the AI-powered chatbot to empower customers to leverage self-serve customer care and provide a hyper-personalized experience to customers. And still in the idea of optimizing processes and spending less time, would say fixing customers' issues. And the last one, developer productivity. So this use case here focuses on document management, user administration, repository oversight, but in the domain of developer productivity, to Vaibhav's point, we're seeing a lot more than that. So obviously code generation, document generation, test generation, and also integration with a CI/CD pipeline to bring automation and yeah, in your software delivery workflows. So and next slide, please. So now I want to dive a little deeper into a concrete example, the one from Bridgewater Associates. So I'm not gonna I think every one of you knows Bridgewater. I think over 160 billion asset under management, well-known investment management firm, which has an investment strategy that is very quantitative in nature, that forces them to often go through like really massive amount of data to do some macroeconomic analysis, and we're talking sometimes decade, if not a century worth of economics data, interest rates, employment metrics, obviously stock market indices, and so on. And so typically they would write code, like special purpose code to do that. And so they went on a mission to accelerate this task and have an agent actually do this on their behalf. And so what they built an agent on top of Amazon Bedrock using Anthropic Claude that you taking the input from the user, the natural language query or question, and just like go fetch the right level of data, generate the right code that is necessary to analyze the data, and on the fly create the visual to bring the insight to the analyst. And so in terms of impact, you can imagine how like it reduces the time to market from hours or even days to a few minutes, just like typing your question, and then the analyst gets the insight that they're looking for. So it does two things. Obviously, again, improving efficiency, saving time, but also democratizing access to data analysis across the firm. Next slide, please. And so I want to dive a little deeper into this use case and just explain like how things work under the hood. We've heard of great examples, and I think it helps sometimes to see how things are working and how they build that agent. So here is an example, like a sample question. So think of you, even imagine you're an analyst and you want to know more about how the changes in short interest rates influence growth, economic growth, and also inflation, and also what are the impact on equity and bond market returns. Actually, even if I'm not an analyst, that's something that I would like to know, given how the market have been volatile for the past few years. So at least I can take some better decision for my 401k. So I would love to have that agent in my in my phone. So the strategy that Bridgewater implemented is like their divide and conquer. When a task is complex, especially when you're using agents, you will run into limits pretty quickly if you try to do it in a monolithic approach. So Vibe touched upon multi-agent collaboration. This is some of the great aspect of multi-agent collaboration, allowing you to break down the task so your agent can work more efficiently, more scalable, and also improve accuracy. And so what they did here is taking the user question, and then the question goes through a planner agent that breaks down the question into an execution plan, if you will. That plan gets then passed to a supervisor agent that then orchestrate the different tasks and different actions that needs to be taken on the input to generate the output to the user. And so as you can see, by leveraging the agent collaboration construct, they were able to optimize the task by breaking down the different, I would say, mission purpose activities and delegate them to the right component. So let's double click and see it in action. Can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So seeing it in action. So the plan is broken down in three main steps. Step one is based on the question, creating what they call a causal map. So we're breaking down the different data points, identifying the data points that are required to provide the insight that is asked by the user. So in this case here, yield curve or I don't know, interest rate, economic growth, all those data points that they know that Bridgewater know that they tracking and they have data, historical data on, and so they're breaking it down and also bubbling up the relationship between the different data points. Step two, can you please click to, yeah, thank you. Step two is then mapping out all those attributes or data points to a data set that they have in their data lake or whatever data platform that's backing the agent to power, as you can imagine, the data fetching, querying, and so on. Step three, thank you. And then step three, once you have all these inputs and the data set that you need to answer the question, the agent will generate the code to execute the data fetching, data processing analysis, and also generate the charts to, on the fly, dynamically generate the visual representation of the answer to be presented to the user. And so, yeah, thanks. And so here we're showing an example or like an example of the output that you get from the agent. And it's like, if you pause a little bit and look at the answer on the left-hand side, it's a highly accurate and thorough answer, recognizing that the question is bidimensional in nature. We're asking about the impact on growth and inflation, but also impact on capital markets. So you see the answer being broken down in two sections, each addressing the different dimension. And then the agent went as far as like calculating correlation ratios or coefficients for each of the, would say, subdimensions or like the metrics that we're asking about. And then just like formulating a well articulated answer back to the user. And on the right-hand side, you see a visual representation of this causal map with all the numbers and metrics that were calculated on the fly. And so I think it's a really good example of how far you can go. And I'm sure as the technology is advancing, we can go even further than that. But it's a good example of how far you can go leveraging multi-agent collaboration to do some sophisticated and complex tasks. This requires not only business domain knowledge, but also technical knowledge to generate the code and then execute it efficiently to generate the output to the user. And so that was all built on AWS, leveraging Amazon Bedrock, Anthropic Cloud, and all the building blocks that we've been talking about for the past few minutes. Next slide, please. Yep. So initially the plan was to introduce the next section, and so giving you an overview of Amazon Q as an added layer of toolset that you can leverage on AWS to build agents. Vaibhav already touched upon Amazon Q, so I'm not going to bore you with another Amazon Q overview. What I'm going to do is giving 2-3 minutes back to Wesley and Balaji, who will be doing a deep dive on Amazon Q Business, which is our fully managed chatbot, AI-powered chatbot that can connect to your data sources, to your tools, and automate a number of tasks from HR tasks to onboarding to technical documentation, insight, and access. And so with that, I will pass it on to Wesley and Balaji to cover Amazon Q Business. Thank you.